So, have you ever thought about how the founding fathers didn't always see eye to eye? It's
Oh,
fascinating,
absolutely.
isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. I mean, we often think of them as this unified group, but they had some major differences.
Exactly.
Right.
Take Thomas Jefferson and Alexander Hamilton, for example. They were practically opposites in their beliefs about government.
Oh, yeah. Jefferson was all about states' rights, while
Yeah,
Hamilton wanted a strong central government, right?
precisely. And it's like their debates are still echoing in today's politics.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild how relevant their disagreements are even now.
Totally. And then you've got someone like James Madison, who kind of found a middle ground.
Yeah, he believed in a strong but limited government. It's like he was trying to balance the extremes.
Exactly. What's interesting is how their personal experiences shaped their views.
Oh, for sure. I mean, Hamilton's background influenced his support for a national bank and industrial
Right.
economy. He wanted to see America become a financial powerhouse.
Whereas Jefferson envisioned an agrarian society, with
Yeah,
independent farmers making up the backbone of the nation.
exactly. And that clash of ideals was a big deal back then.
Absolutely. But it's not just about economics. Their views on democracy were quite different too.
Yeah, like John Adams. He actually feared too much democracy, worried it could lead to chaos.
Hmm.
He supported checks and balances to prevent any one group from gaining too much power.
Meanwhile, Benjamin Franklin trusted the wisdom of the people more. He valued
Exactly.
pragmatism and compromise.
You know, it's funny how we sometimes simplify their beliefs.
Yeah,
We say things like, the founding fathers believed this or that, but in reality, they had a spectrum of opinions.
right. And even on sensitive issues like slavery, they were divided.
Absolutely. Many, unfortunately, owned slaves and saw it as a necessary evil,
Sadly, yes.
but others, like Franklin, actually pushed for abolition later in life.
It's a complex legacy. And then
It
there's the
really
whole
is.
debate about religion and government.
Oh, that's a big one. Jefferson famously advocated for the separation of church and state. He wanted to
Right.
ensure religious freedom without government interference.
Yet John Adams believed that religion could strengthen morality in society. But he
Exactly.
still supported religious freedom.
So they weren't pushing for a theocracy, but they
No, not at
recognized the
all.
influence of religion differently.
It's intriguing how these debates are still so relevant today.
Yeah, and people often misinterpret their intentions. Like the idea that they all wanted minimal government intervention.
Right.
But Hamilton, for instance, wanted a strong federal government to unify the states.
And then there's the misconception that they all supported free market capitalism without any government role.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hamilton actually pushed for government led economic development, like the National Bank.
It's clear their views can't be boxed into simple categories.
Definitely not. And when they were drafting the Constitution, they had to compromise a lot.
Mm-hmm.
The Federalists wanted a strong central government, while the Anti Federalists were worried about individual liberties.
That's why the Bill of Rights was so crucial.
Exactly. It was added to protect individual freedoms, while allowing the government to function effectively.
Right. I sometimes wonder how they managed to agree on anything with all these differences.
Ha! It's like herding cats, isn't it?
Totally.
But I think they all shared a common goal to build a nation that could stand the test of time.
And they knew compromise was essential.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They designed a system flexible enough to adapt and endure.
It's a testament to their foresight.
But it's up to us to interpret their intentions carefully. We can't
Absolutely.
just cherry pick quotes that support our own views.
Agreed. It's important to understand the full context of their philosophies.
You know, that reminds me. Some people argue that the founding fathers created a Christian nation, but that's not entirely accurate. They supported
Right.
religious freedom above all.
Exactly. And many were deists who believed in a creator but didn't subscribe to organized religion dictating government.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's nuances like these that often get lost in modern debates.
Speaking of modern debates, how do you think their ideas influence us today?
Well, the Constitution is still a living document.
Mm-hmm.
Issues like states' rights, free speech, and even gun laws all trace back to the founders' original debates.
That's true. And different interpretations can lead to vastly different policies.
Exactly. It's why
Yeah.
understanding their original context is so important.
Sometimes I wonder if they'd recognize the country today.
Ha! Probably not entirely.
Probably not.
But I think they'd appreciate that their framework allowed for growth and change.
That's a good point. The system they built was meant to evolve.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's why it's crucial for us to engage with their ideas critically and thoughtfully.
Couldn't agree more. So, what's the biggest takeaway here?
I think it's that the founding fathers weren't monolithic in their beliefs.
Right.
They had diverse viewpoints, and they emphasized compromise and understanding.
And perhaps we could use a bit more of that spirit today.
Exactly. Instead
Yeah.
of polarizing, we can look back at how they navigated disagreements to build something lasting.
Well said. It's been great chatting about this.
Likewise, always enjoy diving into history with you.
Same
Let's
here.
keep the conversation going next time.
Absolutely. Until then.